Hey friends, Lucian here with the Bullish Bears team, making the watch list video for Tuesday, September 5th. Going to go over and just talk to you about a couple housekeeping things here, or just a few things if you're new or you haven't been, new to our community or haven't been to our other forms of social media or our website. Just going to show you a few important things here. Make sure that you subscribe to our fan page. We are the Bullish Bears community. That's who we are. So, make sure you go over to Facebook, like our fan page, and follow us. The link is below. We post all of our updates on our fan page. Sometimes it's easier to get direct access to Tim, Dan, and myself over on our fan page because our community is just growing so huge on Facebook, which is awesome. But to see our updates and stuff, it's important to like and follow as well our fan page, because we also do post our trade ideas, watch lists on there as well, which are basically the pre-market movers. So we make this watch list at night, and then you want to take a look at the pre-market movers as well and kind of coincide and look at them together. So make sure you like us over on Facebook, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take advantage to all of our all the content that we have to offer. We're growing like crazy now. As you can see, we have 5,700 subscribers, but we're growing by well over 1,000 a month right now. So it's just really exploding. We just again offer a ton of content on our playlist here, as you can see, just so many different videos. So make sure you take advantage of them, like our videos, share them, and also feel free to comment on them too with any questions that you may have. If you have not been over to our website, make sure you go over to bullishbears.com. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our email watch lists and our community updates. That way, again, it's another direct access to us to stay in contact with our updates, as well as receive our daily watch list by email. So you can subscribe over here. If you're not familiar, we do have a few training courses over here on our website, which are basically a couple $1,000 value with all the content that we give away for free. So we try to do our best to really give back. And if you want to learn more about stocks or options or day trading, take a look at these courses over here. Another area of importance is our trade room. We have a trade room here where we just broke 500 members in that trade room. It's a Skype trade room. It's free to our community. And, if you've looked at other trade rooms elsewhere, trade rooms cost at minimum at least $100 a month elsewhere. So do the math. $100 a month times 500 members. That's, $50,000 of potential income monthly that we're giving up right now. Now, granted, we're not as, super active as some of these $150 a month ones, but we are a very valuable trade room that's slowly growing. We give content, we post watch lists, we talk about things that we're talking, stocks that we're looking at. We talk about potential exit and entry strategies. So there's an asset over there that you could really take advantage of and learn from. And we're offering it again to our community for free. So, never mind our Facebook community that, has well over 14,000 members that are really there to answer questions and help each other out. Again, we email at our watch lists. We make videos on our watch list. Again, a couple $1,000 worth of courses, as well as, a trade room, again, at least minimum $100 a month elsewhere. So we give that all back for free to our community, because ideally, Tim, Dan, and myself, we have a passion for giving back, and we want to do something that's never really been done in the industry, and that's ideally give everything away for free, not as a charity case, but obviously we want to partner with major sponsors down the road that'll basically pay us to give our followers the education, rather than passing that charge along to our followers. Now, in order for us to be able to do that, we need to survive on the monthly contributions of each of our community members. So there's no obligation to pay us for anything, but we do appreciate and we do survive and grow as a community off of the donations monthly from our community members. So if you're not familiar with our website, we have a contribute button up here. And again, we make it affordable for everybody. So while there, again, is no obligations to pay us for anything, if you see value in what we have to offer, we have monthly options available for as low as $10 a month, $25 a month. We go up from there. for monthly options, and we also have single time donations as well. So if you see value, again, if you even just look at these banners here, Trade Ideas is over it's $100 a month scanner that we're posting the free scans on every morning. Benzinga, is a $100 tool as well. Now, if you want these tools yourself, we do give exclusive discounts for being a community member, but we post some of the highlighted community every day and save you, a couple $100 a month, and those tools as well. So again, what we're looking for is for everybody not to give a lot, but everybody in our community to just give us a little bit. And each little donation helps us. So ideally, we don't have to charge memberships fees down the road. We can't promise that we won't. We can't promise that we'll never go membership based, but we kind of leave it in our members' hands. If everybody contributes, $10 or $25 a month, it helps us to grow and ideally down the road not have to charge those membership fees. So if you see value, again, we greatly appreciate your generosity. So that's really our website over here. If you haven't if you're not familiar with us, if you're not familiar with what we're doing and what we're about, we're looking to change the perception of the industry, and we're looking to really give back. But in order for us to do that, we just rely on each community member's support. So let's get into the watch list video. We are making this watch list again for Tuesday for stocks between 30 cents and $10, minimum of 300,000 in volume. With a gain on the day of at least 4%. And I just put a max of 100 million, which is basically shares outstanding, similar to flow, a little bit higher, but it's kind of a good gauge to look at to kind of give you, you don't have to put a cap here. I kind of do, depending on the number of plays. Sometimes if you don't put a cap, there could be a ton of plays. But what I'm looking at is basically stocks that are holding their highs on the day for a potential breakout the next day or maybe the day after. Well, I'm making the watches videos where ideally I want the breakout to happen, ideally the next day, since I'm making at night. So what I'm doing, and I'm just going to kind of show you which each of these, some of these videos, like I said, are going to be a little bit longer moving forward. So hold on one second here. I'm going to cancel these alerts because I just want them active. And I'll explain what I'm doing here in a moment. But these watch list videos are going to be a little bit more longer because we're trying to show you extra ways or, more content, showing you patterns, showing what we're looking for potential entries and exits and mapping out support and resistance. So we're trying to make them more action-packed because ideally we want to empower those that are following us to really learn how to trade on themselves for themselves and really learn what people are looking for and what these traders are looking for to look, how to get in and out of stocks and how, day trading pretty much works. So what I did is I canceled these alerts. These are ones that were active. So what I like to do, because I don't like to have a massive amount of alerts set, I like to kind of cancel them at the end of each day if they haven't triggered, then see which ones, are holding their highs, when I do a scan at night. For the potential next day, and then activate new ones. You don't have to do what I'm doing. Some people like having all these alerts, but day trading, if I have 100 alerts set up and 20 or 30 start firing off, that can be extremely overwhelming and hard to keep up on. So I like to kind of limit how much these fire off. So let me start over here with APVO. So if you look over on my charts here, you'll see I have a daily chart, a 5-minute, and then a 1-minute chart set up over here. And what I'm looking for, again, are stocks that have held their highs for the day with basically a potential breakout on the daily. So actually, let me go up here. Let me see if I can kind of pull this up instead to make it a little bit easier. I just did a couple new saving of charts, and it's overwhelming because now I can't see how many. Where did I do it? Momentum. Let me see. That's not it. I've saved so many charts that I was trying to find the one that I did of just 2 screens, and that's kind of throwing me off right now because it's not. I can't seem to find it here. I just want the one where I have the 5-minute and the daily set up. Give me one moment here and let me see if I can find it. Man, where did I put that stupid thing? I'll have to maybe do it on the next time. So pay attention when I'm doing this video. Just really look at the daily and the 5-minute. I was trying to make it simpler with 2 sides over here. But basically what I'm looking to do is see the stock that has held its highs for the day and then see if it's going to break out potentially on the daily. So let's go back to APVO. You'll see there's resistance here at this 258. No coincidence, whole and half dollar amounts are psychological resistance points, support and resistance points. So you'll see there's an indecision candle here. This thing just dropped and traded sideways, so I don't really like the look of that one. NVCN, so this one kind of held its high, went up, kind of pull back. It's forming this kind of flag position. So ideally what you want to do is you want to see, number one, if the next day the stock breaks the high of the previous day. So number one, I want to see this stock, if it's going to move, break this 132 marker. Then I want to see what is the overhead resistance above that right now. And you'll see this 200 SMA at 142 is some potential overhead resistance. Then you'll kind of see in this 150s range, there's some overhead resistance. And then maybe $2. Again, you can, whole and half dollar amounts are really those psychological resistance points. I want to see price break this 132, then see if it can get up over the moving average line, and then see what happens from there. Again, when day trading, you're looking for, scalps. You're looking to make 10, 20, 30 cents. Ideally, would you love to make 50 cents or $1 every trade? Absolutely. But a lot of times that's just not going to happen. So you got to look at the proper setups. I don't necessarily love this setup, but in order for this to go, I want to see it again break the 132, then see it break 142. And ideally, I would set an alert for myself. I would set it, I try to set it a few cents above a potential breakout area. So if this is at 142, I might set it for maybe 39, just a few cents before. So I'm going to set an alert. So what I'm doing is if this stock gets to the 139 area, I'm getting prepared for a potential breakout, and then I'm going to watch support and resistance, level 2, and time and sales, and see, potential profit target areas. Now, again, I get a little bit, once it gets to 150, I'd be a little nervous, meaning like you might want to take some profits and then potentially get out. I don't necessarily love this one right here because the breakout area, you could get in at the 132 and then kind of wait for it to get to the 142. This one I don't really necessarily love because it's getting to the areas of, EMA resistance and then half dollar amount. Ideally, I would like this thing to clear above 150. So to be honest with you, I think I'm going to change this alert. This is my own preference. You don't have to necessarily follow it, but I don't like the 200 SMA and then 150-ish area. I personally would like this thing to break above 150 if I want to see, maybe, it potentially go up a little bit further. So that's just my thinking and my rationale in all this. But a lot of people, hey, might just get in with the break of the 132 and ride it up, and this thing may explode. Again, it's all a matter of your personal preference. But I think I'm going to put NVCN on the watch list because it is bull flagging. There is a potential, it's heading to some resistance, but I want to see a breakout above it. So at this point, I'm going to put the, I might put an alert at, let's say, 147 area for a potential break of 150. If it doesn't break tomorrow or on Tuesday, then I'll cancel alert and wait for another time. So that's my rationale behind that. TCON. Another one right here. You want to see it break, so it is kind of holding its highs, kind of going up. I want to see it break 335, but then ideally want to, there's some overhead resistance around that 370. So this is one I'd potentially look at. You can see right here, if you draw the line across, is at 335. It is a potential breakout with a potential kind of U bottom here. So if I kind of drew a line, I might just erase this line and just draw the line over here just so it looks a little bit clearer. If it breaks that 335, you know, it could potentially run from 335. Obviously, be careful around the $350 marker, but there could be a potential window of this thing to run from 335 up to, you know, 370 area. So that's one I would put on the watch list. And then again, you know, 335 to 370, that's a potential 35-cent move. That's a great potential move, but you want to be aware, very aware at that 200 simple moving average if this thing's going to pull back. So with this one, I think I would put the alert at maybe 332. And I'll put it over here. So as you can see, I'm just creating alerts. And then what I do is I'm going to take the ones that are like literally my favorite from the watch list tonight, and also the ones that have news potentially as a catalyst, and if there's any volume on Tuesday on them, and kind of put them on like a watch list like over here. Actually, I'm going to put this up here as well, SPX, because I like watching the SPX. So I'll pick my favorite, you know, 7 stocks or so with the alerts on them. And as price action starts to move up, I'm going to want to see if alerts getting triggered and find a potential entry on whatever is like bull flagging or flat top breaking out, or as well as I'm going to show you in these videos, you know, moving forward as potential. Why is that not showing here? This is weird. Let me just put this AAPL. Okay, cool. That's really weird. I don't know why it didn't show the time frame. As well as potential short entries. So not only am I looking at something that might be potentially breaking out, I'm also going to look at overextended stocks, because the best play in the day might be a short on a stock rather than taking it long. And shorting is not as hard as people think. In fact, sometimes I find shorting to be actually easier. Instead of basically buying it, you're selling it. But it's not as scary as you think. If you're holding it for more than a day, or you're holding this crazy, you know, pump and dump stock, yeah, that could be potentially scary. But if you're shorting a stock and you're selling it, whether you sell it at the ask or sell at the bid, you're basically buying at the ask or buying at the bid to cover it. It's really just the opposite of buying a stock, and it's not as risky as people think, as long as you do your proper supporting and resistance, or finding proper support and resistance and charting your stock. It's not that hard to do. Again, sometimes I find it easier to short because a pattern is formed already, whereas a lot of times in the morning with these parabolic movers, they don't have like a window you know, of resistance ahead where it could just go skyrocket right up and smack right back down, because there's really no point of, you know, reference a lot of times with these crazy, you know, low floaters, that they can go up, come back down, and you can get really trapped. So sometimes I like just ones that are, again, going on a daily breakout. These are kind of easy to watch, easy to form. You know, patterns to form, to look at for scalps. Stocks that are really overextended on a pullback, they're kind of easier to watch, whereas sometimes with, again, these ones that are like on the parabolic movers, low float stocks with news in the morning, you have all the bulls and all the bears watching it, and it's going to be that complete battle, and that's where you can have the the bigger bid-ask spreads, and you just got to be careful. So it's just a matter of your preference. So that's why I say take a look at this watch list that I make each night, look at it with trade ideas in the morning, determine if you're a long or a short seller, and ideally you should get to a point as a trader where you're not necessarily as biased. You're looking for the best setup, and that's really what, you know, I'm trying to learn as a trader myself, because I'm still continuously learning. I'm trying to look more for the best setups, not necessarily what, you know, biased I am. If a stock is, again, super overextended, maybe my day that day I'm going to take the trade and short a stock down. If a stock has this crazy news catalyst that's looking like it's going to run and have a great breakout on the daily, then maybe I'll take that trade. Again, it's just looking and training yourself to find the best setups. So again, TCON, I'll put on the watch list. SIGO. So this one right here, obviously any stock below $1, if it's potentially going to break out over $1 on the daily, that can be a big one. I don't know how I feel about the setup. I don't like this whole the shares thing when it's like this. It just really throws me off where it's not showing like a realistic amount. That does seems weird, 9182, and it just looks weird, all this choppiness. So I'm not going to put that one on the watch list. RTNB, this one's just been kind of really crazy lately. It didn't hold its highs. I'm not going to put it on the watch list. BW, so this one right here, perfect example, held its highs on the day. Now, this 285, which is the, or two, what is that? 85 is right at that 13 EMA. That's that's a resistance area. If it can break, number one, above this 275, then break that 285, this could have a chance to run and to move. This might be a potential reversal trade. So this is one that I ideally like to look at as a potential breakout if it can break that 285 marker. But then I also want to see it break above $3, which is a psychological resistance point as well. So you can either decide to potentially get in on this if it breaks 275, and then be careful, what happens at 285, or you can wait for it to break above 285. I get a little bit nervous where I kind of like to, get in on it once it gets above the EMAs. Again, just my preference. So I'm going to put it on the watch list, but I'll probably put an alert on it, let's say around 282. And again, what happens with these alerts, they'll put an alert above the screen if it triggers, and it also sends me a text message as well. So when an alert fires off, it's a potential getting ready for a position. And what I think I'm going to start doing is potentially sending out these alerts. I post them in the group throughout the day. Again, when I send them and post them in the trade room or on our fan page, that's not a recommendation to buy it. It's a recommendation of basically saying, look at these stocks. They fired off an alert. The alert triggered. There still could be a potential reentry, because if something breaks out on the daily and it's going up, if it's going to continue to go up on the day, it might form that bull flag. So it might break through resistance, just picture this being an intraday chart. It might break through resistance, then pull back, and then you get in on the net, the break of the flag pattern going up. It may continue to go. So just because I send an alert that's been triggered doesn't mean there's not a re-entry point. Again, I'll put BW on the watch list. Let me just move this over here. Sorry about that. So, and a lot of times, again, it's all a matter of your preference. A breakout in a daily here, you might not see much pre-market volume tomorrow morning because a lot of the traders are distracted by the other ones that are on trade ideas, and this might be one that flies, again, through the radar. It might get that good quick pop, and then, you can get maybe your 10 or 20 cents, and while everybody else, the other traders, are focused on the pre-market movers. So that's where I'm just kind of playing around with things. I've been focusing on the trade ideas ones a lot, but now I'm also looking on these ones that are just potentially breaking out on the daily and just kind of seeing how I feel. Again, they're less erratic. A lot of them are higher float stocks, so they might not be as crazy up and down with tighter bid-ask spreads. So I'm just kind of testing it, but I am noticing they're not necessarily as volatile when trading them at times. BIOL. Don't like it. HTGM kind of went up, pulled back, some overhead resistance, pulled back right at the 50 SMA. So obviously you want to see it break above that 225. So I don't think I really like that one. NAO. This one, potentially, it's kind of creating lower highs. Want to see it break that 144 marker. So this is actually very interesting because this one right now is currently in the gap. So now it's in the gap. It has some potential resistance at this 170, 200 SMA, but then there's also the gap up to $2. So this thing, once it's in the gap, it could be, as you can see, extremely volatile. So these can get really trick you out. But if you can see it break above this 144, which then again, you want to be careful around 150 as a potential pullback. And then you have the 170 area. This one could be a hard one to judge, but it might be a decent scalp if you can find the right entries. So be aware of, $1.50, $1.70. If it clear $1.70, you know, up into $2, it might go up into $2 and 205 to fill the gap. So, you know, I'd like this one. You know, I'd probably set an alert on this one, maybe around 147 area for a potential break of 150. But then again, be aware at 170 what's going to happen. I kind of ideally like it if it's, you know, going to break the 170 marker. So I might set another one around like 168. It's just, again, once a stock gets into that gap, it could just be really volatile, like with what's happening here. But it's still technically closing up within that gap. So NAO, I will put on the watch list. I'm going to put it on my targeted one to really watch as well. WAC, don't like it. EARS. Now this one's been under $1 for a while. If it can break above that 76, the 89 marker, kind of went up, pulled back. I don't know. This one's one that's a tricky kind of pattern to look at. 77 up to 89. I don't know if I like this one as of right now. Doesn't mean it can't go up, but obviously you want to see it break. If it can break above that 90-cent marker, then you might want to see if it's going to go up and fill that gap. So I'm not going to put it on the watch list. WRN. All right, so this one has held its highs. Now, it's above the moving average lines, which is what I like. Now I want to see it close above this 135 marker. And if it can close above 135, this one might have a potential room to run. This might be a potential breakout on the daily for this one. Again, be aware of resistance potentially at $1.50 amounts. So if it breaks 135, you know, maybe be careful around 150. See if it breaks above 150 and where it goes from there. But I like this one, again, holding its highs, forming a potential breakout with the indicators below it, the moving average line. So WRN, I will put on the watch list. And I want to see it break above that 135, so I might set an alert around 130, maybe 132, 133. It's weird. I don't like those extra decimals ones. They throw me off a little bit. So I'll put that one on alert. So as you can see, when you see across my screen, I'm going to show you here. When the market opens, once I find the ones I decide in the morning that I'm going to watch, you'll see I'm seeing these patterns, stocks that are kind of moving up, holding their highs. And also if there's one on the pre-market watch list, I'm going to basically see if they're forming these types of patterns on the pre-market. And then I have the alert set, so as prices are getting closer to that alert, I can see, okay, that alert's forming me, it's leading me closer to the potential breakout area, so that might be the one I want to get in on. So it's a visual, as you can see. I like having the lines drawn out. I personally like having the alerts, and then I can see as price is getting closer to them, that might be the one that is my potential play, if that makes sense. SNYR, don't like it. INFI, holding its highs. Want to see it break the 130 area. It is above $1. You want to see it break $1.16. It's got the overhead resistance. Not a huge fan of that one. ANFI. Wow, that one really went up and pulled right back. You want to see it get above the 630 area. It really had to pull back right again at that previous resistance area. I'm not a fan of that one. XPL. That's a mess. BSTG. Let's see here. Clearing that. You want to see it get above these indicators. It's got some areas that it's got to clear. I'm not a really big fan of that chart. I mean, it could break, but it's just too much above it that I don't like. JONE. So this one right here has some resistance right at that 131. Did hold its highs. Not a ton of volume. I don't necessarily love it, but it did close above the 13 EMA. So you want to see it break this 111 marker with some potential resistance at the 131. So that's a potential 20-cent move. So you see what I'm saying there? It's not necessarily the best looking chart, but it's something, hey, if you were looking to make 10 or 15 cents, it's holding above the 13 EMA. You know, this might be one to potentially, you know, get a quick scalp off of. So I'll put JONE on the watch list, and I'll put it with an alert at 10, maybe 109, 108. Let's see here, 1.09, oops, 9. Yeah, okay. IPWR, that went up, pulled back. Look at that, right at that 281 marker. So you want to see it break that 281 marker, which above resistance. I don't like how it pulled right back. So this is a tough one. You want to see it break, ideally that 280 for it to have a breakout. But then be careful around the $3 marker as well. So although this one did close above the 13, did get hit over that 200 SMA. So now, again, I want to see this thing break right above that 200 simple moving average of 274. I might give it like this 277 marker to kind of get really more above it. So I might put this one on the watch list, even though it kind of pulled back, to see either it's going to collapse and fall back down, or maybe this is a potential bull flag where the buyers are going to come in and break over here. But again, I want to see it break above the moving averages. But I will put IPWR on the watch list. QUIK. Want to see this one break above the 149 area. That's a 150. Now, if it could break above that, go up and break above it, you know, this one could be a decent one to scalp, you know. So obviously be careful of some resistance up in these areas. But, you know, this one might potentially have a little bit of room. I don't really love the pattern on it, though. So I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this one. So although it did have a close above. So I'm going to put this one on the watch list just because it's close to a $half amount. If it can break that 150 mark, I'll put an alert on it maybe around 148 to see, because if it can break 148, you know, it might be a scalp, might be a 10, 20, 30 cent move. It's above a $half amount if it does go. So it might be one just to watch. DXLG. This one right here, you want to see it break really that 215 marker. I don't really like the action on that one. TROV, don't like it. ATW. Let's see here. So I want to see this one break that 742 marker. Or actually, you know, there is the 744 at the 50 SMA, but if it breaks 707, this one might continue to go up a little bit more. Again, be careful of some of these candlesticks here, but it could break out, go up a little bit. Again, if you're just looking to make a scalp, this one may continue to go up. So I think I'd put an alert on around 705 on this one. So I will put ATW on the watch list. BOOT. Potentially, yeah, if this can break the 880 marker, maybe I'll set an alert around, you know, be careful around $9. So I'll put an alert maybe around 878 for boot. that one over here. And if you notice with some of these ones, they're hovering or riding that 13 EMA. And as you can see, it's riding a 13 EMA, kind of forming that like kind of wedge for a potential breakout on the daily. Doesn't mean it's going to go up huge, but you know, if you break out and you can make 10, 20, 30 cents, that's really what you're looking for. CGI, so this one right here, choppy. So this might be one. Let me see here. $5.53, half-dollar amount, or $5.35. So I want to see this thing break. Actually, $5.53. I want to see it break $5.50. But you know, it's had a few green days up. You can see that, you know, maybe $5, it may pull back too. It may go up and break if it hits its resistance and fall, or, you know, it might be a potential short. So if price starts to fall over the previous day's close, it could fall back down to 5 and potentially further. That's one to look at. I'm not really in love with this one right now, so I'm not going to put it on. NQ, want to see it break 359, which is that 200 simple moving average. If it does break above there, this one could run. So I like this one for potential break of that 359. I'm going to create an alert. Maybe put at 56. I like this. I like the fact that if it breaks above the 200 simple moving average, and it could be a nice breakout. So that might be a nice one to watch. NQ. Because then it'll break above the 200 simple moving average, above a half-dollar amount. It could have a run, you know, to potentially $4. So I like that one. FINL. This one is really nice to look at. This one right here is going up into the gap. You want to see it break 890, forming that kind of basically that wedge, like that's holding its highs. Put a cross here, might potentially go up, flagging. Might be going right up into that gap here to look at. So this is one to definitely keep an eye on. See if it breaks that 890 marker. So I might put an alert at 887. And we'll look at FINL. Put that over here. NERV. Don't like it. BIOC. Let me see how I feel about that one. Resistance at 150. See if it breaks 133. Not a lot of volume. So again, you want to see it break 133. See what happens at 150. That 133 is right at that 50 SMA. So I think I put... I might put this one on the watch list. Put an alert at 131, let's say. We'll put it on the watch list. BIOC. Some of them I don't necessarily love, but if it does break above the 50 and it can go, you know, 133 up to potentially 150, you know, that could be a, you know, up to 17%, you know, 17-cent scalp. CEMP, don't love it. ENPH, don't love it. ATNM. Don't like it. BNED. So this is a potential, you know, potential reversal on a stock. It's not the most exciting thing that you're looking for, but if it breaks that high of the day, that's 558, it could run up. So if it can break that 558, you know, I'll set an alert at maybe 555. This is one to potentially look at, or it can go up, and then you'd be, you know, careful around $6 and then $6.38. But that might be one. That might be a decent reversal. So I'll put BNED on the watch list. ATOS, don't love it. CLD, potentially, if this one can break 334. Want to see it break 334. Send an alert around 332. And if it can break above, then it's breaking above the 50. Could potentially move up a little bit further. So CLD. NPTN. Let's see here. So with CPTN, want to see it break above 620. If it breaks above 620, could potentially move. Basically kind of potentially bull flagging up. So up, pull back, maybe continuation on it. NPTN I will put on the watch list. And want to see it break the 620 marker. I'll set an alert. YUME. Don't like it. Fran. Potentially. So this one right here, want to see it break above that 13 EMA, which is really right above this marker over here. That's 770 flat top, potentially breaking out. If it could break above that, maybe potentially reversing around. So I like that one. I'll put an alert right about that 768 marker maybe. Let me see here. 760. Yeah, right around that 769 marker. So I like Fran for the watch list. And HOS. So that's another one, potential flat top if it can break above that. But it's got to break that $3 marker. So I'm going to set an alert on that one for maybe 297. I'll put HOS on the watch list. And you want to see it break. If it could break above that $3, that one could really potentially move. So HOS. And BBOX, don't like it. CLMT, don't like it. ENT, potentially, you want to see it break 325. If it breaks 325, it might potentially move. That might be an inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder for a break above. See if it breaks above 325. Set an alert here at 323-ish. ENT. ICON. Yeah, that one might as well. Let me see here. Clear the drawings. Want to see it break 591. Then be careful at that 617 marker. This could be a left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This could be inverse head and shoulders. Be careful at that 618. So I'll put it on the watch list. I like this thing. Maybe if it, maybe for a potential break. I get nervous about that overhead resistance. I'll put ICON on the watch list. Maybe I'll put it on a, I don't know if I'm putting alert on that one right now. RUBI. Potentially for a break of $4. You'll see here if it can break above that 394. This one could potentially break and move up further. So I think I would set this one right here for maybe for a potential break of $4. Create an alert there, close to 397. RUBI. EXPR. Let me see here. I want to see that break above that 683 marker. See it break 670. So, if it breaks 670, but then, there's some resistance up there. This might potentially go, so I might put it at like 668. An alert. I'll put EXPR on the watch list. SDLP. Don't like it. HLIT. Don't really like it. VRAY. Potential overhead resistance. IOVA. Don't like it. And MOSY. Not a fan. So that's the watch list for Tuesday, guys. Again, as a reminder, make sure you like and follow our fan page over here on Facebook. Head over to our website, and subscribe to our watch list. Join our trade room over here. Take our courses. Again, we are a contribution-based company. If you see value in what we have to offer, we'd greatly appreciate your donations. Again, we make it affordable for everybody. We have donations for as low as $10, $25 a month to make it affordable. So if you see value in what we offer as a community, we would just appreciate you, contributing and potentially giving back. So we would greatly appreciate it. Again, you can donate right over here under the contribute link. And basically, last but not least, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch our videos, like them, comment on them, share them. Again, we do our best to be a very interactive community. So hopefully this video helped you guys, and happy trading on Tuesday. Enjoy.